Hey, how's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode. I'm really excited about this one because there's a new car in the garage, or at least on the drive, and it's been something that I've been really passionate about for a while. So it's a Ferrari California. It's a 2010 car, and it's a modern Ferrari, and it runs and it drives. It's still a little bit of a project car, so it's not sort of all perfect, but it's actually a really decent car, and it's a modern car. I mean, it's not like, you know, using old technologies and things like that, kind of like the Bentley is to some extent. This is really bang up to date. F1 gearbox, carbon ceramic brakes. The whole car is actually really good, and there's work to be done on it as well. So let's dive in and have a look, and let me talk you through this whole thing, because it's actually been a bit of a crazy purchase. I did pick it up for a reasonable price, a pretty decent price, I'd say, and so that was the influencing decision. But you know, the aim is to use this as an everyday car. As you know, I don't like to put my cars up in the garage. I like to have them to drive. It's not a garage queen. It's literally going to be the car that I use every single day to go to work, to do the shopping, and everything else. One thing I should mention is this is actually my 6th Ferrari. I found it hard to believe that myself, actually, because I didn't realize that I had had so many over the years. But this is Ferrari number 6, but it's definitely by far the best Ferrari that I've had. Everything about it is modern. It drives great. The engine is fantastic. I mean, the performance on this thing, you'll probably hear me say this a lot, but it's actually quicker than a Ferrari F40, and that's not just in a straight line, but also around the Fiorano track as well. So it's a really great car. Anybody who says that the Ferrari California is not a real Ferrari really hasn't got a clue what they're talking about, because I've driven this thing, and although I've only driven it a little bit so far, I'll tell you one thing, this thing is amazing. Let me talk you through the car, because it has been a bit of a crazy purchase. So when you get sent details of a Ferrari California that's for sale, and you get pictures like this, you kind of think to yourself, wow, this could be a real good purchase. Looks like a great car in great condition, and the price is really good as well. Specification is good with Daytona seats, and it looks really good condition. And this is one of the videos that I got, and I thought to myself, you know what, the car looks really clean. What could possibly go wrong with this purchase? It's nothing like the ones I had purchased previously in the cars I bought before. This one looks like it's in great condition. So I asked for additional photographs, and to my shock and horror, this is what I was sent. So clearly the pictures were old pictures, the videos were old, and this was what it looked like now. It looked different. It had a matte finish, and I thought, it's okay, it's got a matte wrap on it, I'll just take the wrap off, and then underneath it'll be exactly as I would expect it to be. So I said, let's meet up and let's get it inspected at a workshop. So we were going to go and get it inspected at one place. He took me somewhere else instead, and we ended up at this garage. Bit shady, you might say, but it was all legit. It was all okay. So started having a look around the car, and then we put it up on the ramp, and the interior still looks good, but not as good as before. The interior, I'd say, was actually still in good condition, because even the driver's seat didn't have too much wear on it, but it had a lot of errors on the dashboard, and there was suspension issues, parking sensor issues. There was a whole load of other things. Engine control, the check engine light is on, the airbag light is on. So there's a lot of things that needed sorting out, but what's good as a car without a few problems. That's what makes it all interesting. And then in the wheel well, the wheel well itself, the liner had kind of disintegrated or something, and that needed changing as well. So I thought about it for a while. We negotiated backwards and forwards. I went away on a holiday, and whilst I was on holiday sunning myself in Mauritius, I decided to purchase the car, and he sent me updated videos. You can see there's a little bit of nose damage on the car itself. So I thought, okay, well, I need to get the bumper sorted out. But overall, the car itself seemed in good condition. It didn't look like it had any other damage on the car. So I thought, yeah, this seems like okay. This seems like a pretty decent purchase. You know, the car was straight. I hadn't tested the roof, and I was told by the garage that we had inspected it that there was a problem with the roof, but we didn't actually test it. I didn't want to get it stuck in the down position, but overall, you know, it seemed to be okay. The guy sent me these videos, the seller, he sent me these videos while I was out in Mauritius on holiday, and he said this is the condition of the car. You know, it was in exactly the same condition as when I had inspected it, and I had driven it at that time as well. I had driven it, and the suspension was absolute shot to pieces, so I knew that I had to get the suspension done. I had no real choice in that. So, cut a long story short, I paid the man the money whilst I was on holiday, and this is the video that the delivery driver, my delivery driver, took, you know, so he could show me what the condition and what was coming with the car, just to make sure. So we stuck it on the ramp, and we ended up getting it delivered to my workshop whilst I was away. And then this is the video of the car as it arrived at my workshop. So they had the car at the workshop for a couple of weeks, and whilst they did that, they changed the suspension. So I ordered a whole bunch of parts while I was away, and I'll run through the details of what cars I purchased and what parts I purchased. And they did all of that whilst I was away, before I came back from holiday. So these are the pictures I took, you know, after I returned back from holiday itself. And you know, as you can see, the car's in pretty good condition. They repaired the front bumper, but they sprayed it in the wrong shade of matte black, so there is a slight difference, and there's still a bit of damage on the front, as my friend pointed out. So as you can see, that was the car, and it was a little bit crazy, to be honest with you, because I did get to inspect the car, and I did get to drive it very briefly, and it was the first time I'd driven a California or even any Ferrari this modern. So, you know, the F1 gearbox, I wasn't really used to that. Trying to get used to how that all operates was a little bit strange. And yeah, so I mean, there was definitely something wrong with the suspension. The shock absorbers were all shot, to be honest with you. They all needed changing, and they're quite expensive on this. It's about $6,000-7,000 in terms of cost. Because they are, I think they're called mag-ride suspension dampers, which basically is in the suspensions themselves. There's liquid which can be magnetized, so basically it can go from soft to hard in milliseconds, you know, several thousand times within a second. They're really good, you know, really good shock absorbers, but they're expensive to replace. And the roads here in Saudi Arabia are not that great, so I mean they're generally good, but you know, you do get potholes, you do get unevenness in the road, so suspension over here does tend to fail a lot. So I thought, whilst I was on holiday, we managed to agree on a price, and then I managed to do the entire transaction whilst I was actually away. So I did all the payments, did the registration transfer, and then the transportation of the vehicle as well, all whilst I was away. And also I ordered the parts as well. So by the time I got back to Saudi Arabia, the car was ready for me to take away and actually enjoy. But there's still a lot to be done, so don't sort of think it's all over yet. But let's have a look now and see what my first impressions were of the car. So it's another hot day over here in Riyadh. It's probably about 40 degrees already. It's pretty early in the morning, 8:45. So let's have a look. So here we have it. It's a 2010 Ferrari California. As you can see, it's in matte black. Now, we're going to take it out for a drive. Now this car is originally black, but this one has been sprayed in matte black. But I'll talk to you about it as I go through the car, as I sort of drive the car and stuff. As you can see, no damage. Amazing, hey? And it starts and it drives. So let's check it out and have a look. But I think let's jump in and start it up. So as you can see, it's a black on black with Daytona seats and yellow accents. So it's got yellow stitching, it's got yellow calipers, the yellow shields obviously as well. It's actually a really nice spec. The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that somebody's painted it in black matte. But we'll talk about that, because I might be looking to do something about that myself. But its engine is cold. It's an early weekend morning, and I think I'm going to wake up my neighbours. So here goes. So we've rolled down the window and we've got the key here. Let's put it in. There is a few aero lights and I will talk through those. Don't worry about it for now. Second position and hit the start button. Cold start in the morning, lovely, lovely. So let's get this garage door open and then let's take it out for a drive. So just letting the engine warm up. Let me talk to you a little bit about the car. So I mean, the car actually is driving really nicely. It does have a few error messages, a few lights on the dash as you can see, and I'll cover that in a separate video. But yeah, it's overall really nice to drive, which is really surprising. And I'll tell you why it's surprising. It's not because of the car, it's because I'm always buying cars which are not necessarily in the best of conditions, little project cars. And although this is a project car, it's something that, I mean, I've been using every single day, taking it to work, taking it to the gym, to groceries. I know it doesn't look like I've been to the gym, but trust me, I have. But doing everything in this car, and I don't have another car, so this is my only car, and it's been great, to be honest with you. And I have to say, on the whole, everything about the car so far is really likable. So, you know, for those people who say, oh, well, this isn't a proper Ferrari, they really have no idea what they're talking about, because they're the ones who are missing out. Okay, so every car, one of my cars has a story, so let me tell you the story of this one. Now this car I bought about a month ago now, and what happened was I was just browsing through the ads as you do, sort of dreaming about one car or another, and I was having problems with my Bentley on RT, which you'll see in another series of videos on the channel. So if you haven't seen the Bentley series, then do check that out, because yeah, that's been quite painful as well. But anyway, so I'd been having problems with Bentley on Arch, and that was a daily driver. So whilst that was in the garage, I ended up having to rent cheap rental cars. You know, just nothing too major, just Hyundais, that sort of thing. And I was getting so fed up with that. Anyway, so I was contemplating changing the Bentley, and at the same time I was browsing the ads, and I saw this car, and it was priced up a little bit cheaper than other Ferraris, and I'd always wanted to get back into a Ferrari. I've had 5 Ferraris previously, so this is my 6th Ferrari now. Anyway, so I wanted to get back into a Ferrari, and always liked the California. I know some people don't like it, but don't really care, because I can tell you now, it's a great car. It's a really, really great car. But anyhow, so started talking to the guy, went and checked it out, and I gave him a lowball offer. And I wasn't trying to be cheeky or annoying or anything like that, but it genuinely had a few things that needed doing to it. It needed all the shocks changed. It's got some error messages on the dash, error lights and things like that. But on the whole, the car was pretty decent. It was not an accident car. I hadn't been involved in the accident. You can see everything lined up perfectly well. It was his daily driver, which for me was good. I mean, the mileage was a little bit high. It's done just under 125,000 kilometers, which I think is about 70,000 miles, something like that. I'll put it up on screen. Anyhow, so it'd been his daily car, which for me was a real plus, because I know with Ferraris and with any car, if they're not driven, lots of things can start going wrong with them. Cut a long story short, we agreed on a price, and I thought that was a pretty fair price for the car. I probably wouldn't be able to get into another modern Ferrari for that kind of money. So I ended up buying the car, buying a few bits like shock absorbers, which are horrendously expensive, and I will cover that in another video. But all in all, was really good. Yeah, and then there was a small thing of talking to the wife, you know, trying to explain that one to her. And so whilst I was away, shocks were changed, the rear anti-roll bar linkages I think it is, were changed as well. A few other bits and bobs. I had the nose sprayed because I'll pop up some pictures of the car as it was before I purchased it, and it had a very minor knock at the front. Nothing major. We've just repaired the bumper and resprayed it. I've just picked up the car from the workshop yesterday. Everything so far looks good. There are some jobs that need to be done, and I'll cover that in a separate video. But car overall is really, really nice. I'm getting really used to the car, which is a good thing. Initially, I wasn't 100% sure, to be honest with you. But the more I drive it, the more I'm beginning to really enjoy it. So the driving area is really nice. Took it out yesterday with some friends, and they absolutely loved it. They all want to buy it from me, not surprisingly. Yeah, it's really good overall. I haven't tried the roof yet, so we're going to leave that until the summer's over, I think, because it's too hot to use the roof at the moment anyway. So I'm kind of thinking I'll wait for the summer for that. But overall, condition is really good. So there you go, guys. Tell me what you think. Would you have bought this car? Am I crazy for having bought it? Am I buying myself into a whole load of problems? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, do subscribe and do like the video. I've got a lot of videos coming out on this car, as well as all the others as well, so definitely like the video, and I'll be showing a video every week on this car as we sort of get it back into perfect condition. So look forward to sharing all of this with you. Take care, guys, and see you in the next episode.